Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I will call the Budget, Finance, and Investment Committee to order. And I will say welcome to Commissioner Baum. Glad to have you with our committee. And the first item on our agenda is to approve minutes, and that is for our October 7th meeting. Thank you, Commissioner Schaefer. Seconded by Commissioner Jernigan. Yes. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. That motion carries. If you will locate your investment report, our county trustee, Mr. Beatty, will present this very brief report tonight.
Thank you, ma'am. It is. It's been a very eventful month in the trustee's office, but not from an investment standpoint. So we didn't have any bids over the last month for investment. So everything is pretty much where it was this time last month, but the tax bills went out, so we've been extremely busy in the office, but it's going well.
And we're holding our own.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner Sandlin, seconded by Commissioner Jordan. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Thank you very much, Mr. Beatty.
Good luck tonight.
He wants to get to the game, man.
That is being televised, right?
Okay, let's begin with our fund condition report from our finance director, Mrs. Nolan, and she will begin with the development tax.
And we'll do this real fast because it's ugly.
Mr. Baum, we start with the development tax, and it's attached to the larger document, which we'll get into. Okay.
Okay.
Do we have everything?
Right there. Okay. October, we received $45,000 in development tax. That brings our total to $351,000, and that's the lowest that we've had in several years at this point. Forever.
Not a good October, was it?
Not a good October.
Well, look, we had a report for the county from the building and codes on single-family dwellings this year, and I think there were 27 in October, and that brought the yearly total to 273, and it has down below, it has for what it was for all last year, so we got 2 months to go, and we need 120 more in these 2 months to equal last year, which was not even 400. We hit there when the boom was going on, 800 to 900 a year to 1,000.
Yeah.
And for the benefit of Commissioner Baum, we get this report every month. This is our October report, and we start with cash balances.
At the end of October, we had $115,220,767, with operating funds totaling $110,843, and borrowed funds $4,377,000. Something I'd like to. Two areas I want to draw your attention to. General fund, you see that we have almost twice the amount of cash as we did last year, but then notice on down, the adequate facilities tax is $0. Remember, we moved those funds into the general fund at the end of last year. The other items, if you would scan on down till you get to Rockville Middle School, there's 3 items on here. There's amendments that Mr. Sandvik is going to be bringing in later. And what he's doing, this amount in Rockville Middle and Browns Chapel and the repairs are going to be moved into a elementary school, and a piece of it, very small piece of it, we've moved to high school. And if you remember, what we just did last year was to approve that $1.3 million for design.
Last month.
What did I say last year? It's a long day. Last month, to approve the planning, the $1.3 million. We'll be using this cash. You'll see on this report a new line for the high school, and it'll show negative amounts, and that's
So
the cash
one?
we're going to be using.
So which ones we're pulling? Are we pulling these down to 0?
They'll still have
Middle,
still have a little bit of cash because there's some outstanding POs. But Rockville Middle, Browns Chapel, and then that 2007 repairs.
Okay.
We vote to do on that when they come forward.
Yes, but I just kind of wanted to let you know that's kind of what's going on.
Yes, that's going to be one of the budget amendments that Mr. Sandvik will bring later, but she just is alerting us now.
But that's where
And that's
what
the
that is.
internal borrowing that we're going to be doing.
That we did. Yeah.
Just ask a question on Browns Chapel. Last year, it had 862,000 balance in the fund. Last month, it had 938,000. How did it gain money?
Good question. I'll look back, but what could happen is if there was a payment that was made to the wrong school that was corrected, or if there was a refund.
Okay.
Is that what it was? Contingency back? Okay.
And all that 938,000 is going to go into a fund for?
It'll be new school. It'll be
Yeah,
new
new
elementary
elementary.
school. And the whole reason that we do this is to,
Yeah,
we are so
don't-
careful about keeping the elementary money away from the high school money, because we have to borrow and share the elementary money. So that's why we're so particular about how this money gets moved around.
But how then do almost, well, $900,000, how do we have that much extra on a school? Is that soundness on the part of the Board of Education and their construction and all? I assume that's it, right?
Why don't
We
we
have
wait till
been
the
seeing such pricing
If need gets up here and answer them questions?
as we, on the front end, the planning for this, as the economy was still heated up.
Okay.
So,
Okay. And then I've given you your revenue sheets, and so there's really nothing that I want to alert you to, anything with 1/3 of the year down. Nothing that we hadn't already covered.
That's the first one you have.
Thank you, Commissioner Jordan. Seconded by Commissioner Jernigan. Any further discussions or questions for our Finance Director? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you, that motion carries. Mrs. Nolan will be giving the insurance report, and we have just financials tonight.
This time. Starting with the health insurance performance 264, which is the health insurance. Just looking at it graphically, we're doing better than what we did last year on our expenses. Through September, the total PEPM insurance plan cost totaled $615.96. That compared with the September of last year of $631.94. So the average to date is $673.14 compared to the average for the whole year last year of $718.92. So we've got a nice little 6% reduction in trend. On the workers' injury fund performance, again, it's a nice report to give. We paid out year to date $157,000 compared to the same period last year of $233,000. Oh, yeah, oh, thank you. Somewhere there is 19 open workers'
I
comp
think that was
claims.
your question, Commissioner Schaefer.
Good report.
Much that's what they said their management insurance committee.
Sir.
Did you make a motion?
I will.
Was that your? Thank you, Commissioner Jordan, seconded by Commissioner Jernigan. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, that motion carries. We will have a report from the Industrial Development Board on projects that are currently underway and the status of those projects. Mr. Baker is joining us, and Mr. Bolden. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening. I believe 2 months ago, y'all had asked for kind of a
Yes, yes, yes.
layout of how many projects and what we've done and such concerning with the IDB on it. We've compiled a list of the various projects that we have recruited or have been recruited. The IDB provides a segment of the incentives and such for it, under it, and you have that list there in front of you. Before I get into that, the IDB kind of is the instrument, obviously, that can provide some financial assistance, but the heavy lifting of recruiting these industries is primarily done by the Chamber of Commerce. Paul Latour and Holly Sears are here with us today. Holly has been in on most of these recruitments, and she spends a lot of time, working with various and sundry prospective employers to come to Rutherford County. So I think you can see that there's been a pretty good list there of that. Those companies represent 13,929 jobs that have come to Rutherford County. I wouldn't be so bold to say that was totally because of our recruitment process, but I would have to say it helped an awful lot. Good jobs don't come to anymore without certain amounts of recruiting, incentives, and everything that go with it. So but that's the result of several years of that. If you'll notice, a considerable number of these abatements will be expiring. Some have expired. So you're now collecting full taxes on any of those that have already expired. You can see the expiration dates on several that are this year and very shortly will be expiring. Where the full taxes will soon be collected on all of those.
So if they're terminated, that means they didn't, before this expiration date or expiring date, they haven't followed up or done what they said they would do to be in compliance with what the IDB had set up then?
One project there, I believe, is in that process,
With one reason or another, whether it be the salaries or the employees or something that they've complied with or
we
was
monitor those annually.
Gotcha.
Whatever agreements we've made with them in terms of giving any abatements based on the fact they will employ so many people, have certain capital investment and certain payroll. If they don't meet it, then we're certainly free to withdraw any abatements that they have. But as you can see, the majority of the companies, overwhelming majority of the companies, have met their goals for employment, and first one thing another. So the ones that you see there that are compliant on it, they've all met their goals that our abatement process was based on. As you know, we don't even entertain the idea of any abatement unless we can see a 3-to-1 benefit to cost ratio, and a lot of these projects have had benefit to cost ratio is much higher than 3-to-1. So 3-to-1 on any of these would be the minimum. Some of them are as high as 15, 20-to-1. So I hope that gives you the information that you want. We'll answer any questions that you have.
On the Verizon, if they come back into compliance, they can be reinstated?
Well, on Verizon is a little bit of the deal with them was that we would not, as long as they met their agreement, we would not recruit another call center. Now, when they ceased to meet their agreement, then we were free to recruit other call centers, which we did. The VA call center was recruited. So the penalty, if you will, on Verizon was the fact that we would terminate the exclusivity agreement that we had with them. That is the only one that particular penalty was put into effect with.
Any other questions for either Mr. Baker or Mr. Bolden while they're here? Thank you for the report. Appreciate it.
Thank you much. Thank you.
Gentlemen, if you will turn to section 3 in your notebooks. Section 3 in your notebooks, and we will begin with the general fund budget amendments. Welcome, Sheriff Arnold and Mr. Russell. You have 3 amendments.
I don't know what order they got them in.
We'll start with the one from Clark Iron.
Clark Iron, yeah, it's a simple, we recycled some more material, and so we're just wanting to have that put back in our budget. The number 2 there is the 24,000 is off of a grant, and that's to train our dispatchers. And we have 6 of those at $4,000 a piece. So we want to get those funds appropriated.
Can we do those separately since
They're separate funds.
they're separate funds? Can we do it in one vote? We can do, they're separate funds, but they advised me we can do it in one vote, so
Okay,
we'll just
okay,
continue.
that's fine. That's what I did last time, so. And then on the 3rd page, you have where we're going to, we're moving funds, we're going to appropriate funds that had come in from public safety, and they're going to be put into the other supplies account, our 499 account. And that's about it. It's not as complicated as it
Public
gets.
safety, wouldn't it?
Assigned that,
Okay.
the new words of
Right.
fund balance, and this part was assigned for this purpose, and so it's not under unassigned.
I got you.
That's what you're looking for.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Jordan, seconded by Commissioner Sandlin. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Baum,
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner Sandlin,
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer,
Yes.
Commissioner Ely.
Yes, yes, motion carries. Gentlemen, do you have anything else?
On November 10th at 6 p.m., we're giving a tour if anybody wants to come out. We're reviewing, we're going to be showing the Public Safety Committee. We'd like for you guys, if you'd like to attend as well. We're doing a tour of all the upgrades and repairs that need to be done to the jail facility over there. And so it'll be, did I say December? November 10th at 6 p.m.
November 10th.
You said-
Yeah, November 10th at 6 p.m.
I will be giving a tour.
Yep. Get to come
We have several
tour the
issues.
jail and everything else.
We have several issues going on within the jail, and so, we'll give public safety some time to come out and look at these issues that we have and talk about them.
Yeah, there's several repairs that need to be made, and there's several repairs that we have made. The budget for the entire detention facility was only $120,000 this year, and we feel like there may be some additional funds needed. $10,000 a month is not enough to take care of that facility. It's way too, I don't know what budgeting they were doing in the past, but there's a lot of issues that need to be fixed out there. They're beyond the current budget amount that we have. So we'll be seeing some more amendments coming up. So.
Y'all learn from the school system, they always take everybody out and show us the problems, and they come back and ask for the
Yeah.
money, so.
Yeah.
Works for them usually.
Hey, I've been watching these meetings for years, so,
Picture's worth 1,000 words and
Yes.
$1,000. So.
Or more, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all we got. Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
From the Register of Deeds, Mrs. Dahlbarn. If you will present your amendment, please.
Okay. What we're requesting is to transfer some funds from our EDP fund, which is a fund that's set aside. There's fees that are taken from each document that we register, and that's been set aside in a specific fund, which can only be used to upgrade the electronic equipment within the Register of Deeds office. And that's the fund that you see there that has the balance of $691,000 in it. We'd like to take some of that money to upgrade our computer program, because we're going to be going into the 21st century in the Register of Deeds office and offering the people who use our services the ability to file electronically versus sending in paper documents, which should help those that are out of state or further out of our jurisdiction, in Smyrna and Laverne, as opposed to mailing or driving in a document. So that being said, we need some new computer systems and monitors. We have to have dual monitors on each desk. And then also, we have on there also to feed the second one there, the data processing services. Progress, who is our provider there that helps us with our internal software, will be helping us to do those upgrades, to adjust the system, to do more in-depth work for our clients. So that's what we're basically doing. On there, if you'll look at, on the next page, I broke out specifically what items we're looking at upgrading, and the one I would like to speak about is the copier down here with the network interface. We did a review of our maintenance agreements on both of our copiers. Currently, we spend about $1,061 a quarter on our maintenance agreements, which seemed very high for 2 copying machines. I'm working with the vendor of one of those copiers. We have 2 separate vendors to combine and reduce our agreement with the purchase of a new copier, which would give us a quarterly savings of $637, an annual savings of $2,548, and the 5-year contract would save us $10,195, well paying for the new copier, which we need. One of the copiers, the maintenance agreement, the vendor that has that no longer wants to honor that maintenance agreement because it's an older copier. So we're kind of forced to purchase a new copier.
Copiers there now, is it owned by the county or is it leased?
They're both owned by the
Both owned,
county, yes. So we would have a copier that may be able to go back into the inventory surplus that perhaps those who have that same copier within the county can use for parts to repair theirs. But we will have to, it will no longer be covered under a maintenance agreement.
When people start filing electronically, how are you going to charge?
It'll be the same fees. The state
I mean,
pays
but
us.
how are you going to collect those fees?
They'll do that electronically.
Electronically?
as well.
And we've had trouble over at the clerk's office with a fee on top, you know, of your regular cost, because the vendor who handles that is going to charge something. So if you get all that worked out.
We're working on that through a
Yeah.
vendor currently. If there is an increase, it'll be nominal.
Mhm.
And between the aggravation of mailing a document to us, it being incorrect, mailing it back, back and forth, I don't see that most people are going to have an issue with that nominal increased fee.
As long as that's
And it's optional.
acceptable and optional, it's not a mandatory.
It's
That is a
optional. This will be,
taxing situation to some
you
extent.
can still continue to file your documents the
I
old
would say
way.
they definitely want to give another $1 or $2 to
Right.
do it on the keyboard
Well,
instead
it
of coming
catches your
in.
mistakes on the
Yeah.
front end
Mhm.
and doesn't let you file most of those mistakes.
Mhm.
It's going to kick it back, which will save us a lot of time and labor also in our office. So it'd be a great service for our clients to move in that direction. And quite frankly, it is the future for the Register of Deeds offices across the country. We just need to get more involved in that, so.
Sounds good to me. Has Brian helped you with trying to lay this out and help you get
Brian
it in?
and Mark from Progress,
Good.
we're working together with both of those. We've got the first, this is our second wave of order of computers through OIT, and we've got the first orders here. They're doing their adjustments to the computers, and they should begin to install some of those computers and dual monitors within the next couple of weeks, and then the second wave of computers will be coming after this is approved. So it should really move us into state-of-the-art office, and it will take us towards paperless, which is also a green choice, but also money saving for the county as well.
Motion to approve, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Sandlin, seconded by Commissioner Jernigan. Any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Baum,
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner Stanley,
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer,
Yes.
Commissioner Ely.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
We have 2 budget amendments from the Assessor of Property, Mr. Boner. Good evening, Mr. Boner.
Good evening.
The first amendment.
The first,
Excuse me.
yeah, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
The first amendment is requesting money from the equalization budget out of the consultant line item to furniture and fixtures, and the assessor's budget is for cubicles for 2 additional workstations. Then the next budget has to do with salary supplements. We had budgeted $1,000 for supplements for 1 employee, but $1,500 was received, so this is recognizing an additional $500 for that employee. And then another employee received the designation as a certified public administrator. And so the revenue coming in is the $500 from the state, and then the balance, the $704, coming from the Board of Equalization Consultants. So this is-
Commissioner Jernigan, thank you, seconded by Commissioner Jordan. Any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Bond,
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner Stanley,
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer,
I'll abstain.
Commissioner Ely.
Yes. Thank you. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Bowman.
Thank you.
From the Information Technology, our finance director will present this.
And we try real hard not to make mistakes in payroll, but we did do one in the budgeting process. We had one employee who currently is 4 years in their step when, we held them back 3 years in their step, so we missed one. And so this amendment is to fix one of their employees to put them in the correct step. So we need $1,230 from unassigned fund balance for $1,015 for the employee person line item and then the related benefits.
What department was this?
It's OIT.
Oh. So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Sandlin.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Jordan. Questions? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Bond,
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner Stanley,
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer,
Yes.
Commissioner Ely.
Yes. Fire and Rescue. Mr. Farley? is
Yes,
that
that's
you?
me.
Okay. Mayor Burgess?
When we merged the Rutherford County Volunteer Fire Department and the rescue squad, et cetera, this piece of property was being leased by the Rutherford County Volunteer Fire Department. We didn't budget any money for this lease. We're going to have to pay until we get the new building constructed. So we need $17,000 to take us through the end of next year, and hopefully before that time we'll have the new building ready, and we'll give this space up.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Jordan?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Jernigan.
So this is here.
Where is this fire department located?
It's over on 810 Salem, Old Salem Highway.
Only place it was right there.
Yeah, it's been there for many years.
Okay.
But the
It's-
volunteers were paying the rent before?
They were paying the rent before.
And the new fire station is going to be somewhere out around Barfield
It's
Crescent,
on the old
right?
Barfield Road, yes.
Yeah.
A little further out than this. But near the Veterans Parkway extension.
Any further discussion?
This will get us through till budget time. So you're talking about starting July 1st, 2011. We'll be in our new building.
We should be. We're starting, you're going to see, I think it's on here, an agreement to start the design of that new building, even now.
Any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Bond,
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan,
Yeah.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner Stanley,
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer,
Yes.
Commissioner Ely.
Yes. Okay, gentlemen, please turn to section 6 in your notebooks. We are ready for the school building program budget amendments. Mr. Sandy. And your first amendment, or recommended motion from the school board, is the one that our finance director alluded to earlier. So that should
Yes,
make
ma'am.
your first one go very easily and
Well, I hope
smoothly,
so.
hopefully.
When the design fees for the next high school were approved, we mentioned we'd be using internal borrowing within the building program. So, as Lisa mentioned, these were funds we had savings from other projects, and because of the sharing issue, we have to keep elementary separate from secondary. We get more bang for our buck if we do that. So this amendment is taking $1,292 from the Rockville Middle School project, $933,543 from Browns Chapel Elementary School, and $132,934 from 2007 repairs, for a total of $1,067,769, with $861 being moved to Stewart's Creek High School design fees, and $1,066,900 808 being moved to the next elementary school, which nothing's been approved on that yet. This is just where we're essentially parking the cash.
And then we're gonna borrow it from there to work on the high school. We've got it on the balance sheet right there.
Any discussion on this first recommended motion?
That doesn't affect us in borrowing that, though, even though it's out of this.
As long as it's on that line item.
We have already borrowed it.
This we've already borrowed, so.
But I'm talking about on the elementary side.
We keep that separate so that when we borrow next, we'll borrow and then replace it.
We put it back.
Put it
in
back,
there.
you replenish it.
As long as we're okay with the audit deal situation. I'm sure we want to make sure that's all right.
I want to share with the city
Yeah.
twice.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Okay, your second recommended motion, please,
And
Mr.
just
Sid.
a minute, I still
Oh, I'm
got a
sorry.
question on this. So you can put it in this grammar school. But you're saying you can borrow that out there and use it.
Our resolution, when we borrow funds, we don't specifically say it's for a particular school. In that resolution that you approve, it's for construction, design, renovation, buying property for schools. So that's one area that we want to make sure we're clean in and we're good. Then we need to make sure on the city that that monies that we get, that we use cleanly. So we can demonstrate that we will have money for the elementary. Of course, when we'll borrow for the full high school, which will be clean, and then we'll replace this
Out of what
that
you
we've
borrowed
already
for the high
done.
school.
Yes.
Yeah, the first $1 million you borrow for the high school, you put right back in this fund.
Can we deal with these separately?
If that's what you
I'm
wish.
going to make a motion to approve this first recommended motion as it's written here.
Okay. Commissioner Sandlin has requested that we deal with these separately, and he's made a motion for this first recommended motion as presented by Mr. Sandvig. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Jernigan. Any further discussion relative to this motion? Commissioner Schaefer?
The $861 is coming from Rockvale Middle, and that's their 7th and 8th grades, right?
Yeah, well, that's, yes.
That's its own share. Okay.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Baum,
Yes?
Commissioner Jernigan,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner Sandlin,
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer,
Yes.
Commissioner Ely.
Yes. Mr. Sandvig?
The second amendment is just one of the routine cleanup amendments within projects that we do. We're not adding any money to any of these four projects. We're just moving it to the appropriate line items. Especially early in the design phase, we don't have exact numbers for what we're going to wind up spending on furniture versus equipment versus library books. And then often you'll see part, as Mr. Clardy's going through the project, he may make the decision to include a particular item, engineering, site work, whatever, as part of the construction contract. So it's just cleaning up as we go through this process. And campus school renovation, as you see, $9,167. We're pretty close to finishing up on that phase of that.
Go one more sheet.
If you
Yeah, one more
want,
next
two
page.
pages after that,
Yeah.
it's broken out in line items.
And you see the line items. It is a truing up of the accounts within the project that we have. And we, probably after the amendment for the two middle schools and Central Magnet, we will have minimal amendments until we're ready to close these projects out completely.
You ain't taking nothing away from them right now.
No, sir. We're not taking any money away from any of these projects, just reallocating it.
Motion to approve.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Commissioner Sandlin.
Schaefer.
Excuse me,
Schaefer.
motion from Commissioner Schaefer.
You
I need a second,
I'll
please.
second it.
And seconded from Commissioner Jordan.
restate that, what you're saying you're doing now.
Just For example, if you look at Whitworth Buchanan, the main switch is there's $376,464 being moved out of the engineering services, second column from the right.
Construction.
Under that
Construction services.
I'm sorry.
Construction.
Trifocal lines get to me. And then the site development is being increased by $344,000. That's just an example. As we were going through the process, Mr. Clardy was able to get the best cost by moving something out of the contract and doing it as a separate bid, a separate service under site development.
But it's still in
Absolutely. It's still within the Whitworth Buchanan
yeah.
project, yes.
That's all I want to make sure on these, till we through it all these, we ain't moving nothing out of it.
No.
Come up short.
Well, and you're still going to have some bills to pay out of this for a while,
Right.
you know, so, but it just,
On Oakland and Whitworth Buchanan. we've
this
got
just
quite
puts
a
it
bill.
together so you can pay those bills as they come in, not necessarily in these line items.
Puts it in the actual line item that
Where
the
it was spent.
expenditure was actually
Right.
incurred.
Right.
And we'll probably be back doing some more before it's over.
Yeah.
Very routine until we move the money.
And I didn't have a problem with this other second amendment here. I just wanted to keep it cleaner in two different motions, so.
And we do have a motion and a second. Do we need further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Baum,
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner Sandlin,
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer.
Yes.
Commissioner Ely.
Yes.
Madam Chairman,
Thank
can I ask Mr. Sandvik a question? Well, I don't want to beat a dead horse to death, but I've asked several about Brown's Chapel. But on here, you're moving $933,543. And on our county fund, the balance, it says there's $938,598 in it. So we're roughly $500 and some dollars, $5,000 and some dollars different. So
That's because there's some bills yet to be paid.
paid.
Outstanding
Okay.
purchase orders.
All right, thank you.
Well,
Thank you, Mr. Sandvik.
thank y'all.
Section 9, gentlemen. We need to approve a grant contract with Tennessee Emergency Management Agency for a 2010 Homeland Security Grant. Mr. Allen.
For those that weren't familiar with these grants, this is what was approved. What was approved for Rutherford County by the UASC Homeland Security District for 2010. And what I just handed out is kind of a breakdown on where this money is going to and what it's being spent on. And this is a result of committees in Rutherford County deciding equipment and things that they need, asking the UASC Homeland Security and getting it approved. So these are things, and if you notice, Smyrna Fire Department has a couple of things there. Their hazmat trailer, mobile data systems, volunteer fire department's SCBA. The SORT team, EMS, has a strike team trailer equipment. This was a project that the UASC wanted to create some strike team capabilities because of the Kentucky ice storm. And we found that when we go and try to help our neighbors, we needed to have a system together that we had equipment and resources to sustain us for a 3-day period when we go out somewhere else to assist. And that's what they came up with, was this trailer and equipment.
Back up one to number 3, the volunteer fire department.
Yes, sir.
What was that?
SCBAs.
What is that?
Self-contained breathing apparatus.
Oh, okay.
So they can breathe and smoke.
I got you. Breathe air instead of smoke.
Yes,
Gotcha,
sir.
Gotcha. All right.
EMS has got some biohazard PPE. Law enforcement got quite a bit of money in it. And this portable light trailer thing was something that the sheriff's office had asked for. throw phone cord reels, license plate recognition with back office and without, and the soft ballistic shield, I believe it's for training. And then one of the most important things is portable radios and mobile radios. We went through and did an inventory by department, asking how many radios they needed to become compliant in the narrow band P25 capabilities, and we took those numbers and fed that to the UASC, and we did it through all 7 counties, and we were approved the total amount that we asked for the volunteers and for the paid departments, law enforcement, EMS, fire, and got the monies that we had asked for all of that. So once we get this grant in, there's enough money there to buy the remaining needed radios to bring every department to compliant.
Can I ask you one question?
Yes, sir.
What's the license plate recognition with back office and then without back office?
I wished I could answer that. I have no idea. This was on, it's a device that's supposed to help the law enforcement officer in their patrol car magnify and bring a license up to where they can see it easier and plug that in on a data bank within their vehicle to get a quick response to who it is and that kind of stuff. There was a law enforcement committee that said this is what they wanted. I just
With is a lot cheaper than without, I guess.
I have no idea. They will, once the grant comes back, the committee, they will send me the information on this is what we have to go for, and then we'll probably have to go out to bid, or it has a state contract or a GSA.
Don't get me wrong, we appreciate the grants, you know.
Oh, I understand.
I like to see where it's going. So.
Yes, sir, and that's why I gave this to you. It kind of breaks it down to you so you understand and see, and it's covering countywide. And the other thing is, we have some great participation from all municipalities in the public safety arena. Each city, town of Smyrna, Murfreesboro, county general, all fire, law enforcement, and the medical side are coming to these meetings, and the communication sides, and talking together what we need, how we need to improve things. So I think we're on the right track, and we're making major progress and getting everyone to be working together.
Is this the same contract that we try to approve every year?
Yes, sir, it is.
Go through.
It's a 100% reimbursable. And what I'm asking this to go through for the mayor to sign it to execute.
So moved, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Sandlin. Seconded by Commissioner Schaefer. Any further discussion or questions for Mr. Allen?
I'm glad he broke it down like this, so you can understand where it's going.
Right.
I'm going to do this with each one, because I think it's very helpful to you.
It is.
Call the roll, please.
Certainly, yes.
Commissioner Baum,
Yes.
Commissioner Jernigan,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner Sandlin,
Aye.
Commissioner Schaefer,
Yes.
Commissioner Ely.
Yes. Mr. Allen, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to need some guidance from our finance director and the mayor. I know property management forwarded the agreement for the Smyrna Health Department expansion to us. Do we need to take action on that tonight?
Well, this is where we were, through the minutes of property management, they sent the AIA contract for the health department, but their minutes didn't reflect the fire and rescue building.
So we don't have paperwork on that at all?
Right.
Well,
But budgets...
I do, but you don't have it up here.
No, we do not.
But you've already approved the budgets for those projects, so we were thinking we really didn't need to allocate money because you've already allocated money for the project.
And we did the grant for the expansion to the Smyrna facility last month.
And we will, that grant will pay for this,
Yes.
these engineering services,
Right.
architectural services.
So we thought that really property management should bring those contracts to you at the commission.
So
yeah,
it's
This is
here.
presentation only tonight then?
So, and let property
More or
management
less.
present
Okay.
that to the commission?
Yeah.
Would you agree? Okay. then this is for, the one we have is for information.
Okay.
And we have the other one, but it's available.
Okay.
I do have it now.
And it is going through property management. or
It's already
gone
been there.
through property.
They authorized the execution of an AIA standard form agreement on that fire rescue building as well.
The only weird thing to me, it's not weird, but not weird to the state, but probably to y'all, is Article 6 on the payment and compensation to the architect. The state has a formula of how they compute what goes to the architect.
Sure they do.
So, which is 27 divided by log P-2.
Minus 2.
Minus 2. Oh, it's a minus 2?
Yeah.
P minus 2.
Plus MC30.
But it's a sliding scale that the lower the cost of the project, the fee goes up. As the project cost gets higher, the fees go down. So, I mean, it's a routine acceptable practice. That way you don't have to haggle over fees, and it's
Well, the school system still takes bids on designing the schools, do they not?
I'm not talking about, this is not contract. Oh, this is just for the engineering?
This is for the
architectural
architect.
fee.
That's what I know,
Yeah,
they
this
still
is-
take bids on there.
And they do it,
on their
they do a
engineering.
percentage. They
Yeah.
just do a
Yeah.
3-5.
Yeah.
But the state does this way.
I'd like to
Through their
incorporate
line.
this. I think this would be better off on this one.
Well, no,
Depends. I think the
it's-
school system actually gets a better deal
The
than
school
this.
systems, their projects are much, much larger in
Yeah.
cost, and they're getting a repetitive kind of fee schedule because they're using the same basic fundamental
Plans.
design again. They get a much better fee than.
I wonder if
than
the
this.
state formula takes it into account if you're doing the same project repetitively, if they're pulling it off the shelf more or less.
This
just-
doesn't. There may be another one, but this doesn't. No, this is from scratch. Which this will be from scratch.
So we'll just assume that the property management will present this at county commission
Okay.
in 2 weeks. Remember, there's a little confusion about in 2 weeks.
Not next Thursday.
Not next Thursday, right. Is there any other business that needs to come before our committee? Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes, ma'am. I would just like to share with everybody here and anyone that happens to be watching on TV that is, I speak, the Laverne High School Band ought to be very close, if not in Annapolis, Maryland right now. The band will be representing Laverne High School, Laverne, Rutherford County, and the state of Tennessee as the only band competing in the 2010 USSBA Grand Nationals this coming weekend in Annapolis. They are one of 100 schools throughout the country that's been invited. They were there 3 years ago, and I believe they finished 8th out of 67 schools from around the country. So just have your support for them, and hopefully they'll do honor for this great state of Tennessee.
Go band.
Any other business that needs to come before our committee?
We will adjourn.
Thank you. We are adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen.